Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Lupe. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm talking to you guys about intuition and how to strengthen your intuition, and how you may have always had a strong intuition, but you may have just learned not to trust it. And so, of course, I always share based on my experiences, my personal experiences, and knowledge that I have collected along these wonderful years in my life journey. So I've realized, especially lately, I have been doing a lot more deep dive into myself energetically, into a spiritual journey more so. And I've learned from several situations now looking back that I always had a strong intuition. I just didn't know that I can trust it. I wasn't sure who was steering the boat. So for a long time, as a kid, I would hear things from my parents or caregivers or even the teachers and well-meaning people that they knew what was best for me. And you may have heard this because so many times we have very well-meaning people that love us dearly or want to care for us the best they can, and they feel that they know what is best for you always. And my opinion on that, because I'm not a parent, but as I can look back with compassion, our parents and teachers and caregivers were most likely doing the very best they could with what knowledge they had. But unfortunately, a lot of those times, limiting beliefs are passed on from generation to generation because of preconceived notions or past experiences that somebody else may have had. So sometimes someone's experience may not be the best for you, just like the stuff that I share. Like, be able to discern, learn to discern for yourself. Take what works for you and leave behind what doesn't. Only because I share my experiences and my life journey, that does not mean it's going to apply to your life. But perhaps there's some nuggets or life lessons that I've gone through that I would hope to help you get across, or I don't know, help you on your journey, whatever it is you're going through. My thing is that we are all very individualized, but like in the grander scheme of things, like we are all a collective. And so I really believe that sometimes when I'm going through something, a lot of other people are also going through very similar things. And my intuition usually guides me, or my intuition guides me always, but it's also my discernment, my choosing of what it is that I'm paying attention to. And sometimes when I'm on this go kind of a schedule, or seemingly very, very busy lifestyle or day or the month or the year, whatever it is, I tend to get so busy that I'm so busy doing that I forget that I am a human being here, as a spiritual being having a human experience. But like Dr. Wayne Dyer said, we're human beings, not human doings. So one way to cultivate your or strengthening your intuition is to start having moments of quiet. This really helped me out back in 2016 when I started meditating. I don't think I was really introduced to meditation, nor was I that curious. I was just busy. I was working all the time and cooking and cleaning, and at that time I didn't really trust myself. I didn't really trust my intuition, and I had a lot of issues with self-love, self-care. I had a lot of issues about putting others first before me, even to my detriment. Like, I remember so many times that I got sick, and it was all because I was working too hard, not listening to my body, just totally not going with the flow, like not even like it was not conceivable for me to request a day off, and I would just feel so bad if I would request a day off. Then I would spend that day in guilt because I requested a day off, because I couldn't be strong enough to work all week, even though I'm coming down with a cold or flu or whatever. And that was me for many, many years. And for many years I was sick and would always, like, I've had bronchitis twice, and I would suffer from burnout all the time, like super frequently. It was a thing. And I also, although I grew up with mom that was a stay-at-home mom, and she cooked like all the time, when I was an adult and I moved out, I didn't find the time to cook all the time, and so I would eat out a lot. And the things I would eat out are super low vibe, super like, probably won't name any names, but really cheap fast food that you can find at many fast food chains. But anyway, at that point, early on, you know, when I was 19, 20, early in my 20s, I really didn't trust myself. I never put myself first. There were certain things that I would obviously do to take care of myself, but for the most part, I was always people pleasing, and I was like, oh, let me help here, and let me help there, and let me save this person. And I'm not gonna get into why, but I understood that certain needs were not met for me as a child. So I was taught to put other people before me. Maybe it was a cultural thing, maybe it was a female thing, maybe it was a female thing, part being of my culture. It's a very Mexican way of women to be super motherly, super nurturing, super giving, and she's usually the one that sits down last to eat, and she's usually the one that's left with most chores and gets up early and goes to bed late and things like that. So that is, I think, a topic for a different day, something more releasing tribal patterns. But anyway, going back to intuition, so a lot of times I didn't know that I can trust myself. I felt, I don't know, maybe it was not even something that occurred to me about trusting myself. I just figured that whatever thoughts I had or whatever other people want to do is what was gonna end up being. So anyway, fast forward to my mid-20s. I had 2 jobs. I was going I had school online, and I was burning out. And instead of me saying, okay, maybe I should pause my school for now, or maybe I should really look into debt repayment and just have one job, and it might take a little longer, but you know, I'm doing the best I can. Nope. Instead, I actually went ahead and just burnt myself out. I ended up going to the hospital multiple times. I ended up in the ER about 2-3 times that I can remember. And I can remember them very well because they were very costly visits. It was like $3,000 here, $5,000 there for just like not even, I mean, I should have just checked myself into a hotel for a week, you know what I'm saying? Some nice hotel. And I think all of this had to happen in order for me to realize that I was not listening to myself. And coming back to intuition, intuition is the notion, the knowing. It's not always a voice in your head, but it's like this urge, this feeling that usually comes from a pure intention. It comes from your heart. It comes from a strong desire or knowing of what street to turn into, or sometimes you get an inkling to call somebody. That's your intuition. And you come to find out that when you call that person, it's actually their birthday, or they're going through something and they really needed to have a chat with somebody and they didn't know how to reach out. That's your intuition guiding you. And your intuition is always guiding you, like all the time. But the thing is, are you listening? I ask myself that still. I make these YouTube videos because of things that I've learned, but I'm learning all the time. And I often feel that when I do give any kind of advice or share things, most of the time it's really refreshing to just put it out there. Maybe somebody will benefit from it. But also while I'm recording this, like a lot of nuggets come up and I'm just like, whoa. It kind of takes me back to memory lane and it reminds me of how far I've come and how much I am more trusting of the universe, of God, source, energy, whatever you want to call it. I believe that there's a greater power that drives us all. It's not just about going to work, getting new stuff, and just hanging out with friends by the pool, although that is pretty cool. There's more to life, at least there is to me. And so one way that I have strengthened my intuition, and you may want to give it a try, is to, somebody actually encouraged me doing this when I was healing from after my mom's death. And so now I know she just transitioned, energy is, and she's always with me. I know because, so somebody actually said, well, why don't you talk to your mom? And I was like, well, that's the problem. Like, I can't talk to my mom because she's already passed on. And he was very gentle, very with his suggestion. I had just met this guy. Anyway, he was I think he was a family practitioner. He was a doctor, but I can tell he was into like naturopath healing and things like that. And so he was very open-minded, and he said, yeah, you should just talk to your mom, like speak it out loud. And at that time I was like, are you crazy? But something, just the way he said it, in my heart, it felt like that's what I needed. And so I listened to him, not just because I'm going to listen to everybody that gives me advice, right? But because it felt good. And I realized that was my intuition. It feels good. It's a knowing, like, yeah. Kind of like, I mean, if you're not on social media, I mean, you're probably on social media a lot. But nowadays, like, it's kind of hard to get away from social media, even for business and, important things, or to follow the news and things like that. So anyway, one way that I started to approach this was just with an open mind, with a willingness. And it just so happened that when I would wash the dishes, yes, by hand, I would wash the dishes, and I never liked washing the dishes. But for whatever reason, when I would wash the dishes, I would start to speak to my mom out loud. And although my mom has passed and transitioned on, I just felt this peace. And at first I couldn't do it. It was really hard. I think I was just so sad and grieving, right? Like borderline depression. Like my mom was my best friend. And So when I would talk to my mom in the beginning, I would just choke up. I would choke up and I'd just start crying. And sometimes I would just stop washing the dishes and just go sit down and cry it out, or like go take a nap because it was so heavy. It was so hard to do. But anyway, so I continued to do this, and then I realized that I can basically just talk to God this way. And I started to realize that so many times, like, we're taught to go to church. I grew up Roman Catholic, and so I was taught to go to church, to go talk to a priest, to go to church, sit in mass for an hour or longer, just to listen to what the mass is about, the scripture, and what they're translating for us basically out of the Bible. And my mom would encourage me before, like, to read the Bible. And after I finished my first communion, I kept my Bible, and then I did my confirmation. So that's another holy sacrament in the Catholic or in Christianity. But I always felt like there was more to it. And so after my mom passed, I actually started becoming more spiritual, and I realized that I can just talk to God from my house. Yeah, it's great to go to church or synagogue or temple, wherever it is you go, but I just felt like I was really inclined to just talk to God, talk to Source, talk to Mom. And then also, my dad had already passed when I was a teenager. And so then I started talking to my dad, and really awesome stuff started happening. Nothing scary. You shouldn't fear. It's just like beautiful synchronicities started showing up, and it was just really cool. So I encourage you to start speaking to, you don't have to have any deceased relatives to be able to do this, but it's something that really helped me not just strengthen my intuition, but also heal emotionally, because I felt that I really shut down my heart at that point where I was grieving. And I know that there's a lot of energy right now on the planet. It's something we can't ignore. It almost feels like the planet is undergoing like a dark night of the soul. And so that's what I feel, because the energy feels, or can feel, the way I have felt when I started waking up spiritually, which was in 2016. And I started paying attention, a lot of attention to my life and everything that was going on. And I started realizing that there really is no tomorrow. Like, whatever we do today is super important. And of course, I'm obviously not perfect. I mean, I'm pretty amazing, but I'm not perfect. And I actually go back sometimes to not following the things that I am like really passionate about. Like, I'll go back to like shutting down my heart after certain situations. I mean, there's a lot of challenges in life, and I go back to sometimes not meditating like every day, and then sometimes I then do practice meditation twice a day for long periods of time. And it's just honoring the flows and the rhythms of life. I can sometimes be really harsh on myself, but I've been getting this realization that I need to be more gentle on myself, because I feel like, man, I've grown so much. I should be better. I should be doing more. I should, and it's like, don't shit all over yourself. But anyway, thanks for watching my YouTube video. I kind of bounce around a lot, although I had the intention for this video to just be about intuition. I just kind of go with the flow, and it's not necessarily I'm not scripting anything. Sometimes I'll write down notes ahead of time, or sometimes I'll journal out what I want to talk about, or I just get these massive inspirations of what it is that I really want to talk about. And that again is my intuition. knowing that I want to share, I want to be of value, I want to add value to other people's lives, and I want to share about what's important to me, and hopefully this really resonates with somebody out there watching these videos. Hopefully it helps you heal, hopefully it helps you connect with your intuition a little bit more. I think that intuition is like in every part of our life, so I will make another video. I'm not sure if the next video, because I already have some more ideas of what I want to do next, and I just follow my inspiration and go with the flow. But stay tuned. I really want to make more videos about intuition also, and healing and opening your heart. So stay tuned. I hope you can subscribe to my channel, share with somebody if this helped you out in any way, or if you know that it would help somebody else out, and hit the little notification bell in case you want to get notifications about when my next video comes out. But I do try to make I have the intention to making a video a week, so hang in there. Another one will come soon, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.